Okay, welcome to the weekly Inside Real Estate Tactics webinar. On these sessions, we do lead generation and conversion tactics. A lot of the times, they're not about the nitty-gritty of what's going on inside a conversion in KV Core, but rather about ways to get traffic and visitors going to your site and ways to kind of convert those visitors into business once you have them in the system. Can somebody please go ahead and let me know that you can hear me? And I thank everybody who's on for being patient with all my schedule changes lately. It's been a weird 3 weeks where I'm traveling literally every Tuesday. So thanks for being here on Thursday, off our usual routine. Okay, thanks guys for letting me know you can hear me. So today up on the screen, we have the topic. Annalisa had asked me to try to do something about farming and circle prospecting. And I know there's like a lot of good coaching out there in the real estate space about circle prospecting, specifically like calling, doing voicemail drops and things like that. But I'm not exactly very familiar with those techniques. I'm going to defer to that. What I wanted to more focus on today was doing more of a guerrilla style approach to running ads in multiple different modes and modalities within a hyper local area. So we're using that word circle. I'm not sure if I'm kind of defining it right here, but what I've done on the document is said, what is circle farming and circle prospecting? And I have marketing consistently in a specific geographic area. And I'm just realizing now that I need to send you guys the link to this document. So let me do that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the screen yet either, sir, just so you know.
Oh.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. All right. Here.
Oh.
Where is it? Where is the screen sharing? Show screen. You know, it's weird because it says waiting to view Annalisa's screen.
Oh.
Almost like I don't have control, and usually it's like big and bold.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna drop out, and maybe that'll help.
Wait, you don't have to.
Oh, there you go.
Change presenter. I was able to do that, and now I have control. So
I mean, folks, we're trained professionals, so pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
All right, we got it figured out. So you guys should see now on the screen the doc. I just chatted it to everybody. Hopefully you got it. Yep, you did, because I can see you all popping on with your little icons up there at the top right. Okay, so yeah, farming, circle prospecting, basically for the purposes of this webinar, we're going to call it marketing consistently in a specific geographic area so that you build top of mind status with everybody in that area as sort of the agent who works this area, right? People know you're the person, and so that you got lots of listings and buyer referrals. What else are we doing this for, right? So the strategy part here, like I said, I'm going to take a guerrilla multiple fronts approach to advertising in one very targeted farm, for lack of a better word. So just curious, how many people on the webinar like actually say, hey, I have a farm, like a specific neighborhood, maybe it's a zip code, and you just go nuts only in that area and all your marketing is focused in that area to the exclusion of everything else? Yeah, David says he does. I always wondered about that because we talk a lot about different niche approaches around property lists in this series where we talk about new construction or foreclosures. John says he does, but really kind of the old school way to do this and the tried and true way is to just pick a really close little area. It might be the area around where you live or something, and just get really well known and make sure that your marketing and your brand and your lead gen offers are there. Are seen constantly. Doris says she has a baby farm. She sends postcards, but that is it. And we're going to get into some postcard stuff today too. It's definitely a part of it. So what I'm going to do is kind of split this up into digital and offline methods. So as was just commented, we all know that the postcards, and there are ways to do stuff offline, and a lot of agents will do a just sold and a just listed cards. But really, Facebook in particular makes it really easy for us to just go into the dashboard, the Facebook ads dashboard, and start showing ads to people in very, very hyper targeted areas. So what I want to do first, let's just jump into Facebook and into the ads dashboard and just show some of that targeting. I know some of you guys are a little more advanced. If you've been watching all these episodes, you've seen this before, but I think this is a good place to start, just to show you how to go, since Facebook is sort of the big one out there right now, the quickest way to get hyper local volume. Let's just do that. So I'm going to go into the campaign creation here. I'll pick the traffic objective here. And demo, RH demo, I have to do that because there are other ads running alongside this. Okay, and this right here, I always get scared. How's the audio, Annalisa?
It sounds clear so far, so
Oh,
I'm gonna knock on some fiber board.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, good. I'm back in Florida finally this week, so hopefully my home connection will do it. All right. United States, and then say I wanted to do just where I live, I can do just my zip code like this. And that'll be a pretty narrow range. The other thing that I can do that I actually, honestly, personally don't do that often, and I kind of forget I can do it, is I can drop a pin. So I can kind of drag the map right here and drop a pin in a very specific area. So I can kind of zoom in. And you see how it picks, like you can almost drop this right on a specific address. And then you can say, hey, only put me within a mile of that with my Facebook ad. So I think that little tactic here, you know, especially if we're talking about a farm of just maybe 1,000 houses, a lot of us don't have massive advertising budgets, but if we say, hey, I'm going to consistently show up to these specific people, in this case, 1 mile around this pin was actually, you know, a pretty healthy 20,000 people. Now, what I can do, we'll touch upon another thing that's going on right now. You know, Facebook we've lost a lot of the targeting options that we had, but we can still get pretty granular and say, hey, I'm going to assume that homeowners in this zip code are going to be between 30 and, you know, they're going to be all the way up to any age. But I'm going to say the homeowners that I kind of want to deal with based on tech savviness. I'm being a little ageist here, but, you know, I kind of want to work with people under 50 because I assume when I get into a transaction with them, they're going to, you know, be familiar and be able to sign my digital signatures and all that stuff. That might not be fair, but that's just who I want to work with. So now I have 30 to 50-year-olds, 7,200, and then I'm going to do married people. Just because I know I know unmarried people can own a home, but if you're married, you're kind of more likely to own a home. And we don't have that homeowner targeting that we used to have. So I'll just scale that out and go married. And now I have a pretty cool little farm, according to Facebook, of 1,900 people. So what I can do, now that I've defined this, I can actually save this audience. Let me remember how to do that. Right down here. And maybe I call this audience 33711 farm, you know? Save. So now whenever I come back in and run ads, I can always go up to this tab right here and say, it says use a saved audience. And it'll always be there for me. And I think the key to this sort of circle prospecting conversation is that we've now locked in who we're going to market to. And anytime we run certain types of ads, we're going to keep showing it to these people. This is where we're going to spend our money so that we seem to be everywhere to them, not only online, but offline, which we'll talk about toward the end of this. So for our online strategy, we are right here in this latitude and longitude within a mile to married people in this age range, 1,900 people, and that is our digital farm. We've drawn a line in the sand. So there we go. So first thing, I didn't have it on here. First, define your Facebook audience. And I would, you know, kind of I'll be honest, I'm making this up as I go, this part, but I think that 2,000 is probably a good, really like intimate little place to start. I don't know that going with a farm of 30,000, unless you have a really big budget and you're already, you know, got market share in your market and you're in a top 1 to 10% producer. I think a nice little $2,000 to $5,000, 5,000 person audience is going to be really cool. So I'm going to say 2,000 to 5,000 people is a good start. Married, and I think, you know, target homeowners. married, specific age ranges. Other thing I didn't put in there, I don't know if it matters that much, but you can do like college graduates. I've used here and there too. So maybe you use college graduates and married, interchangeable. And again, it's not that every college graduate is going to own a home and vice versa, or every married, but it's kind of like just things to help kind of get you closer to the fact that you're showing your ads to people who are likely to buy and sell a home. Another thing I kind of forgot to do that was very important, and I don't want to lead you guys in the wrong direction, is I forgot to choose people who live in this location. See this right here? This is pretty important detail that I left out. So make sure it's everyone who lives in the location rather than people who are recently in it or traveling in it. It's one that I always forget. Make sure people who live in the location. From there, what you can do then is we have all these different kind of ad types that we've checked out over the last, it's almost 6 months now since I started doing these sessions with you guys again. If we go to conversion.info/replays, and we've touched upon a lot of different types of ads. And I think that if I tried to go through them all today, we would just be here forever, but I'll just kind of briefly touch on what kind of ads you might start to show to that audience. So first, we had a webinar about 2 weeks ago about niche-focused Facebook ad tactics, where we were running buyer side ads for things like new construction, move up, move down, downsize, foreclosures, fixers, for investors. And all of these sort of niche buyer offers you can make to people in your farm as a way to jog them out of their current situation and make them desire something else, right? So that they want to sell their house. So that first part of the strategy is to start making buyer side offers that get them thinking, or just get them thinking about investing to generate the investment transaction, so that you can build a relationship deeper, help them getting investment property. So when they are ready to sell their house, you get the listing. So that's the first type of thing you would do. The next would be Facebook advertising of just listed properties. And what I've done is I put the specific previous sessions here that dive deep on these types of ads. So we have the one for buyer side niche offers, and then just listed. So anytime you get a listing in your farm, of course, you're going to want to go and run a Facebook ad showing off that listing. And we have that session in here somewhere. And that's a pretty simple strategy, but could be very powerful if you're trying to build your brand in a specific market. So anytime you get a listing, anytime, I'm going to put all of your listings in the farm, and all of your company, all of your competitors. Now, I'm going to be careful here with permission. So this is kind of like, hey, you keep an eye on your farm, you look every day in the MLS, you see what's been listed. If it's a company listing, then you can start to advertise it. If you see a competitor has a listing and you're kind of on good terms with them, and you guys work with each other a lot, you could reach out and say, hey, you mind if I advertise that to my list of people in the area? And they say yes, and you're good to go there. So you have nice inventory to work with in your farm, whether it's with you, your company, or a competitor. Do we have a link to the doc, Joy's asking? I'll just drop it again for anybody who got here a little bit later. So is this good, guys? Is this like too basic, or is this a good start? I know kind of farming is old school real estate stuff. I think it's kind of fun to bring it into, a digital frame of mind here. And Facebook, of course, just makes it so easy because you can drop that pin and go within a mile and you're good to go. And then from there, we have all these different channels. And as Anna's saying, farming never goes away. Yep, it's fundamentals. Go ahead, Annalisa.
And I think it's something like when you consider the smart campaigns and the drip campaigns and the behaviorals and the alerts as being something you set up on the back end of the system, these ads that you go forward with is actually going to help you create that pincher-like movement of trying to anticipate and answering the what's in it for me to that person by keeping your marketing in front of them and building your brand name and presence. Isn't that all part of it as well?
That's a really good point. So I think what you're saying is like, they're going to get into your conversion or KV core system. They're going to start seeing automated follow-ups.
Right.
And then when they see that Facebook ad or that Google display ad out of the corner of their eye, because you're so consistent about it, it reinforces that.
Yeah, it builds your branding and your consistency. And if it's information that can answer what they're looking for in maybe a realtor or a home or a program, you know, that can just endear you that much more to them.
Right. Yep. So somebody just asked, what about ads for sellers? So that was the next thing I was going to get to. Well, yeah. Actually, no. I'm sorry.
Anna wants to get it. That much I know. She's like, I want it. I want to have it now. We're going to do it.
All right. So
I can hear
before
her.
I get there, so that was kind of the just listed. You could do the very same thing. I don't think we've ever done that on a session here. But if a listing sells in your market, you could run an ad talking about what it sold for, as long as you have permission, right? And you're not claiming it was your sale, or if it was your sale, same as a postcard. We could go right in here. I'm gonna do it. And simply run an ad. I'm gonna pick my fan page. So we'll kind of get to see how to run an ad here for those of you guys who are new to these sessions. We've done this so many times, but I'll just grab my fan page, Opportunity Knocks. And this does not need to be thought too hard. I could grab a picture of any property that just sold. And of course, with permission, right? You know, so if it's not yours, make sure that it's okay for you to be advertising. You don't want to claim it as your sale. Credit the listing agent and definitely ask them first, just to be on the safe side. So one of my favorite techniques, you could grab a street view. I have found over and over and over again, I'm doing some of this right now. I have found over and over again that these screenshots of Google Street Views, just for whatever reason, just kill it with Facebook ads. So that's what I'm doing now. Let me just redo that. I'm screenshotting it. And I could run a very simple ad. Just sold 2466 44th Street. Now, of course, this is showing the people who live within a mile. It is insanely relevant to them, right? I'll upload my image. And you could do this. Maybe you just say you're only going to spend $10 on every sale in your farm. Every time there's a just sold, you tell your assistant or you do it yourself, hey, let's just run $10 worth of Facebook ads talking about the sale of the property. Just sold 2466 44th Street, listed for $150K, sold for $145K in 21 days. Okay. Sold by, and then you could credit, like if it was you, say I just sold this, but if it was sold by your office and another listing agent or whatever you need to do and you have permission, you know, give that proper credit there. It's not important. You're the person who's kind of giving the info, and then your call to action is to see what your Gulfport area property might be worth today. Click learn more, right? And then what are you going to use? You're going to use the sell page on your conversion site or core site. So we'll just go to our site and grab the sell link. You could also build a squeeze link in the dashboard of either platform if you want to track that it came from this. So copy my link. So this is a form, I mean, this is kind of a cool form of circle prospecting, right? You're just telling everybody in the neighborhood that this property sold for how much. So Anna, I did do that pretty quick. On our sites, we have this link up top. It says sell. And that's where people can go and instantly find their home value. So every time there's a sale, it's an opportunity for you to build, you know, to kind of make that offer and get people driving back through that page. So that's where I'm sending traffic, for lack of a better way. You could also do ads where you just have them message your page. I wonder, right here, you can click send message and they can just message you to find out what their house is worth. Right there. I haven't done too much of that, but I know people are doing it and I kind of like it. You know, the only thing that does is it kind of cuts out your CRM. You know, it's kind of better if they go register there and you get the data instead of using Facebook as the CRM, but a lot of times it get you in a conversation pretty quick. Marcy's asking a cool question. when determining your demographics for your ad, do you exclude realtors? I personally don't. I know a lot of people do, and it's very easy to do. You just narrow the audience down and you exclude people with real estate job titles. I kind of personally have always liked having other agents see what I'm doing and having those relationships. A lot of us end up at companies where there's an incentive for recruiting. We have to work with people. We cooperate a lot. So I understand that you don't want to waste money on an agent clicking your stuff, but it also doesn't hurt for them to kind of know who you are. So yeah, totally up to you, and it's totally possible to do within Facebook's platform. In the audience, when I was picking married, you would just click exclude audience and then start picking realtor job titles. They could also, for circle prospecting and farming, it could also intimidate other agents and make them not want to market because they see you going nuts in the zip code. And a lot of people aren't that tech savvy, a lot of our competitors, and they just see you everywhere and they're like, I'm not going to go in there and send postcards. So there might be a deterrence factor for you, allowing them to see all your ads, kind of like puffing your chest out with the advertising. I'm not sure, but yep, just sold. So see what yours might sell for. So I think another point I should make, so this is just kind of an example ad you see on the screen for that idea of advertising I just sold. Another point I should make for this purpose, I kind of glossed over. A lot of times I talk about the name of the fan page. Right here, Propertunity Knocks functions as a headline for the ad, and it's something people see. For this farming and circle prospecting, I do think it would make sense to use your name in the fan page. There are some cases where you don't want to have, if you're just doing straight buyer lead gen, you might use like a niche page like St. Pete, Florida real estate. But for this, it's probably good for people to keep seeing your name and face all over again. So I'd probably be better off using, a fan page like Ryan Hartman, XYZ Realty as the name of the page. So just another point. Yeah, Anna, that's a simple, and I just made that up as I went. It's not. This is interesting info. She's saying, is it just that easy on the copy? It really is, because this is engaging people. They're going to see your name in the fan page, like I just said. They're like, oh, that's interesting. 246644. That sold for 150. That sold for 145. Whoa, maybe ours is worth. We didn't realize maybe ours is worth. If that one sold, ours is worth X. Let me find out, and then they'll click and see what their house is worth and go to your page. Alan, I did target, and how you doing? Yeah, so I did target. Maybe you missed that part, but for the seller ad. No, you're right. For the seller ad, I was assuming you would use your same farming audience right here, the saved audience. So I have my 33711 farm. I was going to keep showing it to all these homeowners, these people who are married in this age range in my area. And while I'm on this page, why not just show you how to exclude. To click edit. And then right here is the exclude people. So if I wanted to exclude realtors, I'd go realtor like that, and just start adding some of the other titles related to real estate. Cool. So that's the just sold, and I kind of morph that just sold plus find your home value. We have a whole we did a whole webinar about seller type ads right here. I'll show you where that is. And that would fall in line with if we're going to directly, overtly try to get people to opt in to either request a listing appointment or find the value of their house. This whole webinar is 38 minutes from about 10 weeks ago. It looks like we did, kind of covers that. So I'll put the link here. Like I said, if we tried to do all these examples now, we'd be here all day. The point is that by mixing up the different types of ads and coming at them all from different angles and being consistent, you're going to win with the farming. Paul's asking, how do we collect the information on a lead if they do not engage on our website but still click our Facebook ad? So if they click and they don't opt in, that's where, I'm sorry guys. Yeah, about 8 kids just walked into the house. Sorry, everybody. So if they click to your website and they don't opt in, the answer is going to be with remarketing and retargeting, where you pixel them and you start to show them ads that follow them around the web. And again, we have a session about that in the archives, and that is going to be an important part of all this. So you're going to have all these different types of ads in your little area going in, and on top of that, you're going to want to remarket to everybody who's showing up. And that's, I have a bullet here that talks about that. So we have the Facebook ads for selling. The last thing I have is branded ads showing off you. And that's just going to be kind of like.
I did want to bring something up real quick before you went further.
Yeah.
You know, just in speaking to the pixels and Google AdWords and all that, make sure you get those scripts to support so we have those tools working for you.
Yes.
You know, make sure we get it connected so we have all of these connections firing together to make sure it's effective for you. So, you know, make sure we get that information.
Yeah, and I don't know, it'd probably be a good idea, Annalise, if that was, I don't know if that's part of our onboarding, but that should actually be a conversation we have as people get their sites set.
I believe it is, but I'll definitely mention that in our meeting this afternoon with our success coaches.
Yeah, it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing. So good question, Paul, and definitely, you know, we're gonna want to pixel everybody who lands on our site and start showing them ads that follow them around the web, like the big boys, Amazon, Walmart do. Now, what I did for the purpose of this webinar is I was kind of recommending that we do Google Display. And you can do Facebook as well, but Google Display is kind of a quick and easy way to do a branded ad that follows everybody around who hits your website, and it follows them all over the web. So after this is over, I'll put a link to the Google Display. But just so everybody understands what a Google Display ad is, I'm gonna go to a site that I know has them. This is a site, I'm not necessarily in line with what this site does, but I like to read it because it's entertaining. And what Google Display is, you'll go on a lot of third-party sites and you'll see banner ads, and I was hoping this would happen. You see this over on the right side? It says get pre-approved today. Well, that's a retargeting, a remarketing ad that I run for Bond Street Mortgage. So, you know, anywhere somebody goes, they start to see this. You could have a picture of you, have your face and name. A shortcut to this might be to use a service like AdWorks. Not that I think that they're like awesome, but that might be a quick shortcut for you to get this done. Or you can watch our webinar about remarketing and our webinar about Google PPC and learn how to set this up. So what happens is people go around, they clicked on your ad for the just sold at 2466 44th Street, and then the next day they see a little banner ad that kind of has your name and face and says, you know, find the value of your home or something like that. Paul's right, weather.com is another place you'll see these in action. So, you know, guys, we can all, with even small, tiny budgets, have ourselves showing up on these sites via the Google Display Network. It's very kind of easy stuff to do. It's not very hard to do once you just get a Google AdWords account. You walk through creating a Google Display campaign. It's kind of step by step and very easy. Upload an image, you do a headline, and make sure your retargeting pixels are dropped, and you're good to go. So there we are again. I love this. James, the owner of Bond Street Mortgage, one day was like, dude, it's awesome. I'm seeing my ads everywhere. And I was like, stop clicking. It's costing you money. But the truth is, it's probably, to show this, is a fraction of a penny, you know, each impression like that. And then you're charged based on clicks, depending on how you're running the ad in Google. So back to get focused here. We've got all these different types of Facebook ads running in our very local market. And now all those people in our local market are being cookied, and they're starting to see banners branded to us everywhere they go around Google. Right there. Okay, so we have another question. This is a good time to answer that before we kind of transfer and go a little bit offline. If you do a seller Facebook ad and want to send them a report, is there a way to do that automatically and send? Is it better to catch their phone number or email? I don't think it's automatic unless on step 2 they ask for the download. Let me do this. But personally, I like to send the RPR if you have access to RPR, as even if they just get their estimate and you do get their contact info, you know, drop the RPR in the mail, because that's a very dense, you know, 10 to 20, 25 page report that has your branding on it and it feels really meaty, or if you use a different CMA service, you might not feel like you're getting results. You might send 100 of those things out over the course of your first month, but 6 months in, as people have that sitting on their coffee table and they put it in their drawer or something, you will start to see activity. People will call you and say, hey, I have this report you sent me. So the online tool is just a way to capture the info, and then I would send the RPR. Yeah, Cloud CMA. I've never used that personally, but that would be similar to RPR, I think. Sherry, I think we can help you. I think a good place to start would be to watch the remarketing webinar on the replays link. The replays link is in the doc, just so you get familiar with it. Here, I'll drop this to everybody right now, the retargeting webinar link direct.
Would you also grab that Zapier or Zapier real estate integration tactic one? I know there's someone with a different question saying, hey, on this Pixel thing, how do we make sure it's set up? And I think also, is it better to capture the phone number and email, which I think a Zap would be very effective in doing that, right?
Yeah, if you do a Facebook lead ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just did that last week too. That was the Facebook lead ad tactics.
Right.
Kind of walk through that whole process. I don't want to, so for the purposes of farming and circle prospecting, we just went in like 1,000 different directions. I think the point is to really just show all the different ads you're doing in one targeted area. And get that started. Start by doing that, and then once you're comfortable and you have campaigns going, then start to layer in the remarketing. There. And yeah, you would drop the pixels now, but let it build the audience. Don't worry about setting all those campaigns up now. Just let it start building the audiences. Okay, where does Conversion pull the market update data from? I have no idea.
So I was going to say, what we do is we pull that information from different sources and compile it and create that report.
Cool. Oh, great. Thank you, John. That's great feedback. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, that was actually pre-recorded. I wonder if those are easier because I can be a little slower and I don't jump all over the place, and I can edit myself. So that's great feedback. Thank you. All right, so let's jump in now. We've got this whole online effort going. We're driving every time there's a just listed or just sold in our market. We're running Facebook ads. We're remarketing with branded display banners. People see us everywhere online, and we're doing it all within a 1 mile radius, right? Now we can start to get a little fancy and go a little more old school, mix it in with the new school. So with offline methods. And the first thing I kind of wanted to bring up, a skill that will be useful to know if we are going to start doing like paper ads or sending postcards or doing some of the other ideas here on the doc. It'd probably be useful to know how to buy simple custom domains from GoDaddy and forward them so that you can track your results. I think it's very important to track what our money is being spent on. So if I go to GoDaddy, and I think I'm going to buy a domain now live. Do you think this is relevant, Annalisa? I think.
Yes, very much so.
So I'm going to buy let's say that I know that I'm going to do a postcard campaign offering somebody to find the value of their house in this zip code. So I'm going to do 3371 homevalues.info. The reason I'm going to buy .info is just because I don't feel like spending a $10 or $11 or whatever it is every time I buy a domain. I know I can buy the .info for $2 or $3. So I'll go ahead and click search. It's available as I expected it to be for $3. I can add it to my cart. Continue to cart. And basically what I'm showing you now, some of you guys, most of you guys probably know how to do this, but this is how you buy a domain name on the internet from GoDaddy. So did that. I wasn't signed in. Just give me a second here. And I'll buy it for 1 year. Okay, complete my purchase. So for $3, I have a custom domain name. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a second. Sometimes GoDaddy takes a minute. I can skip and manage my domains right here. You guys are going to see all my crazy ADHD ideas. But let's go right here. And now what I'm going to do is I want to forward this through a URL that I can track. And if I go down to the bottom, you guys can watch this when you watch the recording, but I'm going to click Manage DNS at the bottom. And right down here, there's a section called Forwarding. So if I know that I'm going to be using this specific domain with my postcard campaigns, I'm going to want to set up a tracking URL, a squeeze URL inside of a KV Core or Conversion. And I guess I'll just do it in Conversion today. So conversion.com. Trying to log in here. Sorry, guys. And I'll go down to where it says lead generation. And I'll build a squeeze page. And the type is going to be seller in this example. Now, if you were doing 33714closures.info, that would be a buyer type. And we'll do postcard as the source. And maybe we'll do 33711. It's my hashtag. Oh, I can't have a number, right? Seller 33711. And then I don't think the areas is important on the seller side, so I'll just go here and build link. Oh, it does want one. Okay. It's performing a little slow just because I have to go to webinar. I've seen this happen live. Sometimes it won't kind of like trigger the area for me here.
Yeah, it gives you a little delay sometimes. I've noticed that myself.
Here we go. And now let's. I don't think it really matters in this case because I'm doing a seller side. So I'm just gonna click that. And now I've got this link right here. And now, because it has the string inside, it says PPC equals postcard, and it adds a hashtag. This will all track nicely for me when I go into my domain, my forwarding. So right here in forwarding, I'm going to now forward this domain to that URL that I created in my system. It's an HTTPS type like this. You can preview to test it, but I'm just going to move fast here and click save. So now when I go to 33711homevalues.info, it should redirect to my seller page. So the first thing I will mention is this is probably going to take GoDaddy. Usually it's like 20 minutes to a half hour. Sometimes it's right away, but don't get upset if this happens where like you go to the domain and it's not forwarding yet. If you visit it in about a half hour, an hour, it will, or if you're watching this in a replay, it should redirect to my seller capture page on my site. Okay, so that's done. I've set up my forward. Now I can start to use that domain in offline marketing in my circle prospecting area in my farm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into a program that, full disclosure, I'm a partner in, but I have permission, and this will actually track back so that Inside knows, Inside Real Estate can track all activity and all that. I wanted to keep this kosher. And we can start to send postcards in our area. And you guys can use any postcard service you want, but I'll just kind of show some examples of what we might do to use postcards, offline marketing, to drive traffic to our conversion site. So what I'm going to do is create a just listed campaign. So real quick. So I will just go to the card designer. Click send postcards. Okay, and in here, and thanks just for anybody who tries it out, there is a real estate section or some templated cards you can use and like kind of fill in your own info. So if you have like just listed or what's my house worth, some of that stuff's in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that image that I just used for the fake sold house right here. So see, I just uploaded it, and I can add. Let's stick with the just sold idea actually. Just bring this over here. I don't want to bore you guys with gory details, but you know, I could do something like just sold for 145. Okay, and again, I'm not going to go nuts on the design. I just want to get you the basic idea. So this is a traffic source just like Facebook when you think about it. It's just that it's going to hit people in their mailbox, not online on their computer. So save and continue. The message is more or less the same. Hi, just FYI, the property at 2466 44th Street sold for 145K recently. If you're curious about the value of your property, head on over to, and then it's going to be 33711homevalues.info. And if I kind of did that quick, but it would probably be a good idea to kind of echo this and have this big and bold on the other side of the card as well. Now, what Thanks does is kind of cool. Is it, you know, you can pick a handwriting style, so it kind of looks like you wrote this to them. All right, I'll just do Ryan Realty, right? So you're make sure your name's in there. They're going to be seeing your stuff online all the time. Now you're sending them postcards. You are really like tech savvy. You are all over the place everywhere they go. They get this card in the mail, and then they can go online to 33711homevalues.info and you know, and get their home value and become a lead for you. The other cool thing I could do here with Circle Prospecting with a tool like Thanks is I could type in any address and draw a pin and basically do the pin like we did on Facebook. So I would go like that. And now I know that everybody, there's 56 people, for example, around is getting that that notice. You know, it's like their neighbor's house sold. You can also buy leads directly kind of the same way and kind of segment out by homeowner and do all kinds of other fun stuff there too. So I won't dig too deep in that. You can play with that. But that's like a quick way that you could send offline postcards and then drive the traffic back through your conversion site. And then you'll know that if you spend XYZ dollars here offline, that you generated so many leads in conversion. It'll track back for you based on the hashtag and the source. You know, the advertising results down here, you'll see that source show up, you know, how many visits, what the sign up rate and all that. So it's a nice way to merge offline with online. The information on Thanks.io is people are estimating the cost is on the site. But basically it depends on the plan you're on. It's 99 cents a card a la carte, or you can buy down to 35 cents a card or 39 cents a card. That includes postcards, depending on whether you're subscribing or not. And the break even is something like 165 postcards a month, and it makes sense to have a plan. So I didn't want this to be a plug for that, but you know, I can't avoid it. If we're talking about Circle Prospecting, I am a partner in a tool that does a really good job of it. So I figured why not mention it here? You know, it was built specifically for this kind of stuff. Okay, so you would do just listed, you could do just sold. Thanks.io also has, I won't go too far into it, but you can actually send multi-card campaigns if you want as well, where if somebody, you add them to the mailing list, and then you can send a postcard on their birthday, on specific holidays, or drip campaigns, like if you're doing expireds, you know, you can do day 1, day 30, day 90, like a drip email if you want, which might be really useful, you know, for Circle Prospecting. You kind of add a bunch of homeowners in your area and just say, hey, I want to make sure they get a Christmas card every year. This tool was kind of built to do that sort of thing offline. Okay, so plug. I know, Adam. All right, so that's enough. I'll let you guys check that out on your own. Next idea I have with Circle Prospecting offline is my favorite. I mention this as often as I can. I was doing this back in Philly probably in 2006 and 2007, and they're still selling these bobblehead card holders. But I have a link to Sansa Specialties, and you can buy these bobblehead dolls, and basically you would put your, you know, you would go to local businesses in your area, in your farm area, and you say, hey, can I leave this on your counter? Maybe you got to pay them 20 bucks a month or something. You work out a deal. There was a pizza shop I remember I did this at. Like the guy was just loved. He said that it was just like fun, like a fun conversation. He let me do it for free all the time because he just liked kind of joking with customers about it. It was like an icebreaker. but this card was there. And what you do is you flip the card, your business card over, and on the back, you have something like 33711homevalues.info, find the value of your house, right? So these are about 10 bucks a piece, $11.95 a piece. If you buy a bunch of them, the price goes down to $9.95 each. And that's a nice way to do something offline. And then I have billboards. I've never done that, but I know it's possible. And local newspapers. It's more or less the same thing. Create, you can do just sold, you can do just list, but make sure you use a custom URL with GoDaddy, the way I showed you, and drive that thing back through something that tracks, so you know whether or not you're getting a return on that investment. So, and then finally, I have a link. Ernest and Nick, who has actually been on one of these sessions, Nick over at Spark Combos, they were talking about buying zip code advertising on Spotify. I haven't looked at it at all, but that's fascinating as well, because not only then are you doing digital and doing like offline with postcards, you can start to layer in radio ads. A lot of people use Spotify. Really cool idea right there. So we're about 46 minutes in. I could probably go on with like 50 other ideas, but I think the purpose of this was just to give you some basic strategy and some nitty-gritty tactics for really owning a specific farm and doing some circle prospecting. So I have no idea what Spotify costs. I think Ernest says in that thread that it was only something like 200 or 300 bucks for him to get in a zip code. And I looked into Pandora a few years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I actually did. I have a friend of mine who's in the radio business, and we did a thing about podcasts and radio advertising. And Pandora's like, I think you need like $2 or $3 grand to even start talking to them. So yeah, definitely Spotify. Look into that. A couple $100. So a couple $100 for Spotify. So that might be a topic for another session. Maybe we explore radio advertising. Yeah, 2K for Pandora. Like they don't do small campaigns as far as I remember, unless they've changed that. So, okay, guys. Any questions? What you thinking today? Any feedback? Anything I missed? Are you all busy right now? Running Facebook ads, talking about.
They're about to be.
They're about to be.
Yeah.
So, yep. And I hope that tip for GoDaddy was useful. I really think that's an important part. It's like a small detail. It's like an extra 5-10 minutes of work, but you really want to track when you're using these offline sources. You want to track where your ads are coming from. If you just go buy 100 postcards from Postcard Mania, Thanks.io, whatever you buy them from, and you just send a postcard, you have no idea whether it worked or not. I mean, people have them, and it's good to have your brand out. Somebody might call you in a year, and it's probably not a good idea to expect to pay the same cost per lead with offline stuff for that reason as you would with online stuff. But it's good to start tracking so you can gauge. If you send one postcard campaign now to 500 homes and you get whatever, a 3% reply, but then you send the next one, you get a 1% reply, you can gauge and kind of like not do the same thing that got you 1%. Mike, you can find all of these recordings at conversion.info/replays. We also put the links at the bottom of all the documents. So I'll drop that link to everybody right now. And the documents are usually linked at the bottom of every recording. Conversion.info/replays. Send to all. Please post URLs to save rebroadcast. Yeah, so that link, guys, bookmark that, conversion.info/replays. That'll just take you straight to the YouTube playlist. And it has all of these, like the last 20 or so episodes all in order right here. It actually goes back years. We've been doing this here at Inside Real Estate before that conversion since back in like 2014, 2015. Both me and my brother was doing them for a while. So there you go. Anything else, Annalisa?
I don't think so. I was going to say, when you were just talking about radio, one of our local realtors here actually, in the summertime, they help sponsor, she's a boutique shop, but they help sponsor local concerts or local free concerts in the park or things of that nature. And that's been a way for them to get the prospecting out. And I think a couple people this year, when it comes to like, what is it called? Black Friday, which is not far off right now. I've started passing out cocoa at 3 a.m. with their information.
Oh, wow. Yep. So all of those things
You know,
if you're doing a radio ad or you're having like the local concert and they say your name before the concert, they do that in St. Pete here too. And it always drives me nuts. They just say the name of the agent, but why not say 33711homevalues.info so people can whip out
right.
their phone and become a lead?
Yep.
Yep. Thanks, Annalisa.
Sure.
All right, guys, we'll be back. It's going to be next Thursday again because I'm going to be traveling next Tuesday. So we're going to do the same time next Thursday, and then we'll get back to Tuesdays. So thanks for being on, and we'll get the replay live as soon as possible. Have a good one.